Hello, and today we'll continue with Temptations Ballad. The adventuring guild was even more busy than usual as Cole, Sid, and Orderby shoved their way through the entrance. The place was so cramped that Sid had to tuck his arms close in order to squeeze through the crowd. Cole looks like things are even busier today now that the Firefly Festival is almost here. Remind me why we are here again. There's just a bit of adventuring guild paperwork I gotta finish up for our team. Plus, with so many people, this is a good place to find some gossip or news about upcoming events. Keep an ear open for anything suspicious, or perhaps referring to yourself, Cody Bonebreaker. The crowd immediately parted to allow Val's massive hulking figure to pass through unhindered. Cole took one look at the crocodile's glaring face before darting behind Sid with a scowl. Just once, I want to greet you with a friendly smile. Is that too much to ask? For someone who indirectly destroyed my companion's fighting ring and livelihood, yes, absolutely. The crocodile's angry glare faltered for a moment as Orderby stepped between them. Hello, Sir Val. I'm sincerely sorry about what happened at the fighting ring yesterday. It was not my intention to ruin your livelihood. Val stared between Orderby's apologetic grimace and Cole hiding behind Sid. The disgusted scowl on his face grew. You have done nothing wrong, lass, though I hope you have considered my words to you yesterday. I've given it some thought, yes. The crocodile let out a satisfied grumble. Some progress, glad to hear of it. Sid cleared his throat uncomfortably and scrambled to change the subject. So, what are you doing here, Val? Looking to do some adventuring party stuff for the guild? Not quite. I'm here to check on the competition for tomorrow. It is a Firefly Festival after all. The biggest sporting events include the jousting tournament and the free-for-all brawl. The brawl is that where they just stick a bunch of warriors into a ring and let them go ham until one remains. Val smirked, essentially. And that's where I plan to be tomorrow. Should I make a decent name for myself, finding new work should be much easier. Unlike Clyde, I do not have the patience to become a mere shopkeeper. Oh, please, you just want an excuse to beat people up. I cannot deny I enjoyed the thrill of a satisfying fight. Val turned towards Sid with an appraising stare. Have you considered joining as well? You are a fighter of no small talent. Should you impress the crowds, you will surely find yourself a more fitting employer. Cole gripped Sid's arm defensively. Hey, don't you go stealing my lackeys now. No, perhaps Sir Val is correct. I'm considering participating in a jousting tournament myself, so either Sir Sid or I score well in these competitions. I could provide us with an in to speak with the high-class nobles we seek. You got a good point there. You know what? I'm in. Where can we sign up? Val jabbed a finger towards the Adventuring Guild reception desk. Early sign-ups are made here. Sid and Orderby both nodded gratefully before making their way across the room, leaving Cole alone with Val. The crocodile glared at him coldly. Okay, what do you want? I can tell you've got something pissing on your mind. Val shook his head. Simple. Your new teammates are too good for you. Cole smirked and shrugged nonchalantly. What can I say? Sometimes life deals you a winning hand. Ain't my fault I got lucky. Val's eyes grew even colder. The laws of man's scouts he turned to leave. Unworthy leaders are often swiftly replaced. What will you do when your friends find someone better? Cole fell silent as Val disappeared into the crowd without another word. What will he do if his friends find someone better? Well, Cole has done well for himself even before meeting Orderby and Sid. He'll be fine on his own even if they left him. Of course, it won't change much at all. But still, Val's words got under his skin more than he cared to admit. Be honest, in some way I do agree with Val, the crocodile. I think in a lot of ways Sid and Orderby are better than Cole. I mean, Cole's like kind of cowardly, and he was willing to leave Sid alone, basically to die basically back in the fighting ring when they were all mind controlled and the place was about to collapse. So, I mean, he's certainly not like his father, Morrow. I believe that they both ought to be and Sid are more brave and they're more wisest and they're willing to do the right thing. While Cole is more about himself and just being more pragmatic about stuff. That's what we think about Cole. I mean, I don't like that the crocodile Val keeps he tries to make every opportunity to talk about being negative towards Cole and just talk down to him, but at the same time I kind of do believe him. I do believe what the crocodile is saying about Cole. I do believe him. Sid and Orderby exchanged nervous looks before awkwardly shuffling towards the entrance of Soul's arcane curiosities. The shop's front entrance has been mostly repaired since yesterday's events. The wall now lacked a cart-shaped hole, though the wood displays noticeable cracks and scars with the traces of countless mending spells. Do we have to come back here? I don't think the shopkeeper's gonna be happy to see us again. Sir said we must accept responsibility for our actions. We were the ones who destroyed the shop's storefront, thus the least we can do is offer our apologies. I get that, but why isn't Cole here? Orderby scowled and stomped her feet. That little coward refused to come. I tried to drag him with us, but his illusion magic made him rather elusive. She sighed. I suppose if Cole won't perform his duties, we will have to do so in his stead. Sir said, you're rather close to Cole, yes? Perhaps you can persuade him into acting with a single thread of morality sometime. Yeah, I've never been a very persuasive person. Plus, Cole doesn't seem like that kind of guy that would change his tune after a conversation or two. Orderby grumbled in dismay. You're right. Perhaps I should try threatening physical violence instead. What? No. Cole's such a tiny guy. One swing and he'll crumble like dust. Sid eyed Orderby worriedly. You were so prim and proper yesterday. What happened? I have been studying Sir Morrow's teachings and techniques and found them most effective. I have been pondering ways to implement them into my daily affairs. But maybe Morrow is the best person to learn diplomacy from. Perhaps, though you cannot deny his methods are effective. I can see why you look up to this man. Sid sighed and scratched his head self-consciously. I guess. Anyway, are we going to apologize to this shopkeeper or what? Hello? Is the shopkeeper available at the moment? Orderby, this is a store. You don't have to knock. Oh, I suppose you're right. The Salt's doorbell jingled pleasantly as they entered. Sid and Orderby took one step into the shop and immediately bowed their heads and sang. Hello, shopkeeper, so. We came to apologize for accidentally demolishing door, your front door yesterday. Welcome to Soul's Arcane Curiosities. What can I get for you? Oh, it's you too. Sir Clyde, what are you doing here? Why are you wearing a shirt? The target scowled, his eyes baggy and tired. He straightened out his ragged overalls and glared at the two with annoyance. Well, seeing as my fighting wing is currently buried under a pile of rubble, I had to seek new employment. Oh. Artemis gulped and bowed deeply. My deepest apologies, Sir Clyde. Had not sound more restraint yesterday. The target sighed and waved her hand dismissively. Stop that. I can't get mad when you're being so sincere and shit. Besides, if I had to choose between finding a new job or getting beaten to death by stone elementals, I picked the former. Barnaby hung her head shamefully and suffered behind Sid. By the way, why is it cold with you guys? Oh, he kind of insisted on not coming. Clyde murmured under his breath dryly. That does sound like him. Sid awkwardly scratched his head. So, what happened to the old shopkeeper here? Oh, him. So's a pretty old man. The three of y'all crashed through his door yesterday. The shop gave the poor guy a heart attack. He collapsed and was quickly sent to the infirmary. Clyde grimaced. So's fine, by the way, but he had to find someone to look after the shop while he rests and recovers. So here I am, yay. So did let me go shirtless though, so I had to go dig up some old clothes for the job. Barnaby clutched her chest in horror. I nearly killed an elderly man yesterday. Now, all three of you nearly killed an elderly man yesterday. Sarah to blame is a good strategy for life in general, lass. Barnaby was too busy collapsing into a fetal position to hear him. Sid scratched his head awkwardly. On the bright side, at least you managed to find work quickly. Yes, look at the bright side. Sir Clyde managed to find work, thanks to you giving an old man a heart attack. Clyde glanced at Army with concern. Hey, you see alright? Your friend is sprawling there. Yeah, she does that sometimes. Give her a minute. Clyde shrugged. Don't think yourselves too hard. Hammond was the one who caught wind of my situation and recommended me to sew. Hammond did? That was awfully nice of him. Clyde nodded gratefully. He's a good man, always ready to clean up his son's messes. Hammond was the one who helped me start up my fighting wing after my fall out with the blacksmithing guild. Arnold instead stared up at the tiger in surprise. You are a blacksmith, Sir Clyde? The tiger laughed humorously. There was a hoarse and bitter edge to his voice. I wasn't always a black market dealer or fighting wing coordinator. That was all it means to the end. In the beginning, I set out with the goal of becoming an honest blacksmith. The blacksmithing guild never saw a more talented worker than yours truly right here. As a teenager, I created masterpieces and works of art that the guild veterans couldn't even dream of. Clyde chuckled and shrugged regretfully. Gotta admit, getting called a prodigy one too many times inflated my ego, so what? I was successful, not well liked. How come you're not doing blacksmithing stuff instead of running a legal fighting wing? Sounds like a better career option to me. The tiger fell silent. His gaze thrusted as a resentful scowl washed over him. I would if I could. I ran into a little trouble while I was working at the guild. And by a little trouble, I mean Cody Bonebreaker. Clyde sighed. Maybe I shouldn't go into detail. We want to give y'all a bad impression of your new boss. Seeing Arby exchanged looks before both pressing Clyde with curious nods. Actually, you mind spilling the beans? I definitely wouldn't mind learning a bit more about him. I do not know what beans Sir said is speaking of, but I too would like to know. Clyde snorted before sinking into a chair behind the stewkeeper's table. It's a long story. Where do I even start? Carl and his folks were frequent customers at the blacksmithing guild since we supplied most of their equipment. This was back when the two of us were just dumb teens. Carl and I would hang out whenever his father came by for business, and hanging out some more in the back of the guild building, if you know what I mean. Clyde laughed at Sid's flabbergasted expression. Orby just looked confused. We were horny teens. What do you expect? I meant, that's not all we did, though. Turns out the little guy really liked tinkering with small metalworking contraptions, and I was nice enough to teach him a few tricks. We got along real nicely back in the day. An nostalgic smile spread across Clyde's face as he ruminated quietly. We never really talked about it too much, but I knew it. He knew it too. We tell people that we were just best friends, but really, I loved the little asshole. No one else was there for me the way he was. Too bad the two of us were too young and stupid to address our feelings properly. Clyde sighed. Anyway, after a few years of working as the blacksmithing guild's prodigy, my ego and ambition got the better of me. I wanted to create the greatest masterpieces the world had ever laid eyes upon. Metalworking masterpieces that would cement me as a true prodigy among the blacksmithing guild. The guild veterans laughed it off as the hubris of a rookie. Our suppliers didn't want to take the risk of an expensive project from a young blacksmith with such little work history. Cole was the only one who really supported me. A British sweet smile spread across his face. Who are those suckers how wrong they are, he said. I got your back. If these weapons turn out as great as you say, you can sell them to my papa. The greatest mercenary in the world wielding the best masterworks weaponry. You don't have to worry about people not taking you seriously anymore with that kind of achievement. So I took the dive. Spent nearly an entire year perfecting my designs down to the tiniest detail. The problem was, my project required some very special types of metals and ingots. Rare ingots. Anyone lucky enough to have such metals would be crazy to even consider selling them to me. Even after an entire year of searching and begging, I couldn't find any suppliers who even had these metals in stock. I was ready to give up on the entire endeavor. But one night, Cole stood up to my door looking more excited than I had ever seen him. Behind him, he dragged an entire cartload of goods and materials. Cole gave me that big old smile and said that he promised to have my back when the goings get tough, and that he's sticking to his promises. The little fucker actually did it. He somehow got the metals that I needed. A soft smile spread across Clyde's face despite the bitterness of his voice moments before. I never felt more alive as I worked that night. The love of my life cheering me on as I carved masterpieces into being with my own two hands. What more could a blacksmith ask for? I would slip by without my notice. It was daybreak before I finally finished. There on my workshop table was the greatest weapons that the whole of Axia will ever see. My first creation was the Vox Sword, a massive Damascus steel great axe is great. A massive Damascus steel great axe is black as the night itself, and designed specifically for Marl Bonebreaker. Clyde chuckled. He's the one who named it Vox Sword, not me. From what I've heard, he's taken quite the liking to it. This great axe possesses the ability to shatter and neutralize most forms of magic, perfect for anti-magic brute like him. Artemis' ears perked up. Ah, I see. I had first-hand experience against your creation just this afternoon. The way Sir Maul's axe cut through my lightning spells with ease. It was quite an intimidating weapon. You should be proud of yourself. You should be proud of your skill, Sir Clyde. The tiger held his head high with a prideful grin. She's a beaut, ain't she? A little on the simple side, but she's good at what she does. What was the second weapon you made? The tiger's ears drooped as he scratched his head with embarrassment. Ah, that one's a little. I'm still proud of what I created, but it's got a few flaws here and there. I'll call it the Linnaeus. It's a silver halberd crafted from a special metal with peculiar safe memory qualities. Every part of this halberd, from the handle to the blade, can contract and extend it to its wielders will. Its changeable length and form makes it incredibly deadly in combat if mastered correctly. The only problem is, I kinda made the thing a little too heavy. It was a necessity with all the states it could transform into, but it's a little clumsy. I could barely even lift the darn thing with both hands. Whoever used it would need to be monstrously strong. Sid blinked in surprise before reaching for the axe holstered on his hip. With a slight twist, the weapon sprang to its full length as a halberd. Are you talking about this? Clyde's eyes grew wide as he stood up, hands shaking, and put a sweet softness wash over the man as he gingerly reached out a hand towards the silver halberd. Linnaeus. So he gave it to you. May I? Sid held out the weapon for its creator to grasp. As soon as it left the badger's grip, the halberd immediately dropped like a lead weight. Clyde's arms buckled as he struggled to hold it aloft. He let out a self-deprecating laugh and hastily passed it back to Sid. What a fool I was. He lost my masterpiece, a weapon that most people can't even hold. Clyde marveled at the sight of Sid holstering the Linnaeus, completely unbothered by its weight. I'm glad the Linnaeus has found itself a worthy wielder, though there's a lot of potential hidden in its blade. Put it to good use for me, will you? Sid gulped and scratched his head self-consciously. But, I wouldn't call myself worthy or anything, but I'll do my best. He frowned. I still don't understand, though. You created two perfectly good masterwork weapons. Why did blacksmithing guild end up kicking you out? Sid sank back into his chair with a scowl. Nothing in life comes free, nothing besides trouble. Remember how I said that these weapons required rare metals? It turns out Cole stole them from an important noble family. Orderby and Sid exchanged shocked looks as Clyde continued bitterly. They were none too happy to find where their precious metals ended up. We managed to piss off some powerful people. The nobles filed a massive complaint to the blacksmithing guild, who took the brunt of the blame for our misconduct. After paying a small fortune in fines, the guild was quick to blacklist me from all the forges in the city. No smith wants me anywhere near them. The tiger let out another bitter laugh. And so the bonebreakers ended up with two masterwork weapons while all I got was a broken future. Orderby and Sid sat in stunned silence. But wait, this must be a big misunderstanding. Cole isn't the kind of guy who would throw you under the bus like that, right, Orderby? Sid glanced at his teammate gravely, only to be met with a doubtful silence. wouldn't put it past him if I am to be perfectly honest. Cole's a good man, but I have seen him act rather selfishly at times. Come on, Orderby, he's not that bad. Clyde sighed. I wanted to believe that. I always thought that maybe there was a mix-up and it was an honest mistake on Cole's part. The two of us drifted apart a little, but I still consider us close friends. But now, after yesterday, I'm beginning to have second thoughts. Val always got angry on my behalf and treated Cole like a diseased swine whenever he showed up at the fighting ring. Maybe I should have listened to his warnings. But wait, why don't you just start a blacksmithing force of your own? You still got the skills for the job. Forces don't come cheap. Plus, you need a network of trusted suppliers and sellers. No one wants to touch me after my little stolen metals accident. That's part of the reason why I started up my fighting ring and black market dealings. Another few years of wanting that junk and I would have saved enough money to start my own forts. A chance to restart my dreams from scratch. A tired grumble escaped the tiger's throat. Alas, all that is gone once again, thanks to yesterday's accident. Autumn felt her chest lurch painfully. She bowed her head again, lower saying, I had no idea. My deepest apologies, Sir Sid. I didn't mean to inadvertently destroy your livelihood. Clyde laughed and waved her off. Like I said earlier, I'll take another setback over getting clobbered to death by walks. You don't need to worry about me. This little sop isn't too bad. So was kind enough to supply me with a bunch of arcane crystals charged with the heat metal spell. I can do a bit of metalwork and tinkering in the workshop out back. Nothing big like the weapons I used to work with, but it's a start. I'll never give up on my dream of being a blacksmith, no matter how many setbacks I face. I'm ready to devotion, Sir Clyde. Please, if there is anything we can do to aid you, you need only ask. Yeah, we kind of demolished your old job. After all, we owe you this much. Clyde smiled kindly. Now you ain't gotta worry yourselves over me. I'll be fine on my own. Do pay me a visit sometimes, alright? This shopkeeper job feels a lot less exciting than organizing a fighting ring. A wave of exhaustion washed over Clyde as he fell back behind the shopkeeper's table. Sid and Autumn had left the shop a few minutes ago, leaving him alone with his thoughts. Reminiscing of his past had left him more emotionally drained than he expected. Clyde squeezed his eyes shut and let out a deep sigh. My little coleslaw. I've always wanted to think the best of you, but now that I think about it, you never even apologized. Did I even mean anything to you? The tiger silently jolted forward as a knock rapped through the door. Welcome to Soul's Arcane Curiosities. What can I help you with? Oh. Clyde chuckled at the sight of Sid poking his head through the entrance. You know this is a public shop, right? There's no need for knocking. Right, sorry, force habit. The badger let out an awkward laugh. Listen, I was wondering if I could ask you for a favor. This harbor that I have, it's got a lot of hidden properties, right? Would you mind showing me how they work when you get a chance? I know you're not a warrior or anything, but maybe you can help me master this thing. And a solid grin spread across Sid's face. When I go out there and start doing heroic adventures, I'll make sure everyone knows that this masterpiece of a weapon was made by the great Clyde Bessemer. I know the blacksmithing guild and nobles sat on your reputation, but skill is skill. If you put yourself out there, I know that it'll shine through all the nonsense of your past. Clyde felt his chest flutter. The earnest smile on Sid's face was broadening to look at. Clyde allowed his pride to grow again, just a little. I think that's a great idea. Not sure how far it'll go, but it's worth a shot. Tell you what, Wookie, come here first thing tomorrow morning. I'll show you all the tricks my little masterpiece has up its sleeve. Sid pumped an enthusiastic fist in the air. Hell yes, thank you for this opportunity, Clyde. You won't regret it. Before the tiger could say another word, Sid had rushed out the door with a cheery, skip-to step. Clyde couldn't help but smile to himself. The lad's got spirit, I'll give him that. He paused suddenly, confused. How did he know my full name? I don't recall ever telling him. Sid and Ornaby had scarcely left Soul's arcane curiosities when they were stopped by a sow. The two turned around to see Clyde running down the streets towards them, waving his hands wildly in an effort to get their attention. Sir Clyde, what's the matter? The tiger laughed before hunting over to catch his breath. Huh, you two are quite the speedwalkers. I almost lost track of you guys. I'm surprised you do not seem the type to lose your breath after such a short sprint. Are you feeling alright? Clyde smiled and waved away their worries. Just a little tuckered out after yesterday's events, that's all. Anyway, I wanted to speak with you. Sid jumped with a start. Me? Did I do something wrong? Nothing of the sort. I got an offer for you, Sid. If you're going to build my greatest masterpiece, you might as well learn how it works, right? Come by the south first thing tomorrow morning. I'll show you what it truly means to master the Linnaeus. Sid's face split into a throat grin. Really? You do that for me? I'd be honored. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. He laughed and scratched his head nervously. I'm still not sure if I'm worthy enough to wield such an important weapon, but I'll do my best to not disappoint. Clyde gave Sid a friendly pat on the shoulder. You got spirit, kid. Just hold yourself with a little more confidence. You got a great future ahead of you. Anyways, I gotta head back to work now. I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Ornaby and Sid watched as Clyde hastily ran down the street back towards the shop. Sid pumped his fist excitedly. Training to learn a masterwork weapon. Maybe this is my chance to finally fight by your side as an equal. What's the matter? Sid followed Ornaby's gaze as he watched Clyde disappear around the corner of the street. Sir Clyde seemed uncharacteristically out of state just now. I wonder if he's alright. The moment Clyde turned around the street corner, he slumped against the wall as he struggled to catch his breath. Man, maybe I ate too much at Miss Stryker's Inn earlier. I didn't think running up and down the street would take so much out of me. The tiger's form fizzled like wisps of smoke as his disguised self-spell wore off. Cole exhaled sharply and wiped the sweat from his brow. This was the first time he used two disguises back to back. He needed more practice with his illusions. His pocket shifted as Malice slithered out and eyed him with curiosity. I don't understand you mortals. You could have made that whole arrangement as yourself instead of this whole impersonating nonsense. Why go through all this trouble? Cole snorted as he dusted himself off. Yep, you definitely wouldn't understand. Malice puffed up indignantly. My vast undying mind far surpasses your own. Charming puny mortal. Cole chuckled humorously. They wouldn't trust me if I had suggested something like that to them. What are you up to? What kind of selfish shit are you planning in the background? None of them would have agreed to it without making a fuss. To be fair, the suspicion is kind of warranted. Did you ever apologize to the blacksmithing mortal for your wrongdoings? No. Wow, you really are a piece of shit. You didn't have to say it out loud. Release me, you fiend. I just wanted to do something nice for once. Is that too much to believe? Coming from you, yes. It is a shame you only do nice things when you're pretending to be someone else. Cole shrugged. Listen, Cody Bumburger's got a bad track record. You tried to help your best friend one time and suddenly you ruined his life. You tried to help out a few strangers and then you ruined his life a second time. Sometimes it's best to keep my distance before I fuck things up again. It always happens eventually. Cole's voice trailed off as the smile on his face slowly faded. Honestly, why do I even try? Malice watched the small hyena with piercing eyes. I believe I understand. You're rather averse to growing close to people, aren't you? I can empathize. Malice gave him a wise nod. Back home, I'm clearly the greater and more talented demon among my siblings, but they always treated me like the baby of our family. I don't see the connection whatsoever. And thus I push them away. I must prove myself to them that I am indeed strong and independent demon who don't need no siblings. That's why you should form a pact with me. Together we will no longer need any companions other than ourselves. Cover his temples tightly. You're probably the most unconvincing demon the world has ever seen. The City Watch office building was the same today as it always was, severely understaffed and swamped with paperwork. West was alone as he hunched behind his desk with a weary grumble. When he first began his job, he figured he'd be busy fighting crime and stopping evildoers instead of becoming a glorified secretary. His back was sore and his eyes heavy. The mountain of paperwork in front of him seemed endless. What he wouldn't do for a little distraction right about now. Yeah, Wes, how's my favorite annoying city watcher doing today? What in the world? Wes screamed and jumped so hard that he slammed his kneecaps into the corner of his desk. Tears welled at the ends of his eyes as he clutched his leg with a whine. Cody Bumburger, where? Wes paused and scanned the room furiously. That cursed hyena was nowhere in sight. Was he playing a prank on him again? Wes swore that he heard the little rascal just now. Psst, down here. The cell stood under his desk to find himself face to face with his horrid arch nemesis. Yo, how in the hell do you even sneak down there? Cole smirked and strategically rested his head on the cell's knee. What's the matter? You can't honestly say you haven't thought about having me between your legs at some point. He immediately flooded the cell's face. Absolutely not. The only place I want to see you is behind bars. And more to the point, you're trespassing on City Watch property right now. Cole looked unimpressed. Really, you guys have a big open sign on your front door. Near the bottom of that sign, there's a small text that says, all welcome except Cody Bumburger. He squinted. Well, I guess you're right. When did you add that? I never noticed it till the last dozen times I sneaked in here. Wes crossed his arms and tried his best to look intimidating. Enough of this chit-chat, Cody. What are you doing here? All his attempts to look tough melted away the moment he felt Cole's fingers dance teasingly across his inner thigh. Wes sat frozen, face burning red. He could only watch Cole smirk as the little rascal pulled himself up and sat snugly on his lap. Wes shivered at the sensation of Cole's warmth rubbed against his pants. His heart hammered against his chest in a mixture of horror, panic, and slight arousal. All things that the sheriff of the City Watch should not be feeling right now. I noticed that you haven't tried to arrest me all day and got a little worried. And so I dropped by for a visit. Wouldn't want to deprive you of my company. Cole's low voice was a low purr that sent tingles up Wes's spine. Get the hell off me, Bonebreaker. I've got work to do. You You can honestly say that any of your work is more fun than trying to catch me. I'm the funnest part of your job. Host scanned the small mountain of paperwork on the desk. Wi-Fi, festival safety regulations, brawling tournament precautions, mysterious fainting phenomenon, blah blah blah. I wouldn't expect a miscreant like you to appreciate the work that goes on around here. We're utterly swamped thanks to the festival tomorrow. Wes Huff began shuffling his papers back in order. He noticeably made no effort to push Cole off his lap, only because she's luring Cody into a false sense of security. Obviously, sure, he's been alone in this office all day, but he wasn't lonely. That would be ridiculous. The city watches increasing the amount of safety precautions this year in order to make the festival perfectly safe for once. All the streets will be lit with pillars of arcane crystals instead of lanterns. Hopefully drunk hoodlums won't be knocking them over and starting fires like they did last year. And we're also using illusion magic to substitute the usual festival fireworks so no one's home getting burned again. And the brawling tournament, don't get me started. All participants' weapons will be coated with special wax that blunts any blazing edges. The goal is to reduce the number of toes and fingers lost by at least 50%. Paying for healers to wear attached limbs has been eating into our expenses. Surprisingly, Cole watched him organize his list with interest. Wes would never admit to it out loud, but it felt nice to rant about work to someone who would listen. The hyena leaned over and plucked one of the papers from the pile. What is about a fainting phenomenon? Wes groaned and slumped down his chair. Oh, there. Ever since preparations began for the Firefly Festival, there has been reports of people randomly passing out in the streets in broad daylight. People of all ages, mostly commoners, would kneel over, utterly exhausted for no reason. It was as though they just got their life drained out of them. Luckily, it doesn't seem too serious. Most of the victims made a full recovery after a day of rest. Still, we haven't been able to find the source of these faintings. It's making people nervous. Wes sighed and rubbed his eyes wearily. He still has so much work ahead of him. He suddenly blinked. Wait, why the hell am I telling you all this? Get the hell out of my office, bumwaker. Colesberg and grinded his hips against Wes's lap, forcing an embarrassed squeak out of him. Yeah, I knew you secretly enjoyed my company. Good thing, too. You're my best source of news for any recent events in the city. Speaking of which, I need to ask you for a favor. You city watch folks are supposedly good at watching the city, right? Have you run to this specific street urchin? He's around 15 years old, a Siamese cat. It looks like an utter piece of shit. Wes huffed across his arms indignantly. I thought he'd be younger than that. I don't know, maybe like about 10, but he's a little older than I thought. I ain't got the time to keep track of every little street rat around here. If you're looking for urchins, just walk around the Firefly Festival stalls a mile. There are plenty of those ankle biters begging for scraps every year. Cole scratched his chin thoughtfully. Not a bad idea. Thanks, Wes. I knew you wouldn't let me down. I ain't doing any of this to help you. But you did help me in the end. Is there any way I can thank my favorite city watch seraph? Let's go, his heart suddenly hammering against his chest. Why does he always feel like this around that damn rascal? Cole gave him a slight smirk as he slid a teasing hand down his abdomen and danced teasingly around the hem of his pants. Come on, Wes. I know you wanna. Deep inside that proud man of the law is the heart of a pervert. Wes felt like his mind was circusing. Suddenly, there were footsteps at the entrance of the office. His coworkers were returning from their lunch break. West shrieked before leaping onto his feet and grabbing Cole by the scruff of his neck. "Hey, let go of me, you little... Out, out, out!" West didn't let the hyena say another word. He dragged the rascal across the room and unceremoniously dumped him out the nearest window. West slammed it shut before slumping to the ground, his racing heart struggling to calm down. "Nobody saw him, right? Ugh, that damn hyena is going to be the enemy." I gotta stop right here. We'll go to church next time. So I'm just gonna stop right here for now. So we learned a lot more about Cole and Clyde's relationship, and according to Clyde, they basically Cole basically vouched for Clyde for his talents as a blacksmith, and Cole's father, Morrow, Bonebreaker, they would end up getting most of the weapons from the place where Clyde worked at. And in that weapon he made, he it had some crystals on it. Well, I don't know if it's like the same one that Sid had or not. I don't remember that fast. But anyway, he made some weapon that it had rubies on it. Turned out these were rubies that Cole stole from a noble family, and the noble family got really angry about it. So they sued the blacksmith guild, and after the guild paid a fortune, well, a small fortune to nobles, Clyde got dismissed, and now the other blacksmiths in the town wanted anything to do with him. So he started this underground fighting ring so he can make money, make money and save up money to start his own blacksmith business. And you know how that ended up, with Cole and bringing Ornaby and Sid along, So he's rightfully bitter towards Cole. I mean, a part of him still loves him, but he's tired. He's tired of Cole and, messing things up for him and not apologizing to him for his mess ups. I mean, he didn't like the fact that Cole did not show up to apologize himself, but instead he said Ornaby and Sid to do it for him, really. So certainly Cole is very cowardly. I mean, certainly if he wants to be like his father, he got to be brave and fess up to what he did. But he certainly is not meeting up to his father's standards. Well, what his father is a person so far. He certainly hasn't done that. He's very cowardly. So, like I said, we got to learn more about Clyde, and after what we heard about Clyde, talk about his history with Cole, it makes sense now. It makes a lot of sense why at one point he still loves Cole, but on the other hand, he just is tired of him. So we'll go to the church next time and meet with probably Artemis' mother as well as the Knight Commander Grank. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.